Okay, let's assemble the engine. So we'll let me see here. Let's paint the individual parts first, and then assemble it. Well, we're going to do this in a couple ways here. First of all, these are going to be gunmetal. This is going to be gunmetal. The little engine here in the back is going to be flat black, light gray, and inside the cowl here will be cockpit green. So let's go ahead, and the way the instruction has it is, okay, we can put these together because I don't want to run into too much of needing to glue through paint. Don't like doing that. So we'll go ahead and get some glue here. Stick it in a little. Go ahead and push it in. And we could actually paint this gunmetal but in one piece. Okay, let's go ahead and use some thinner. Put some thinner in there. Put a little metallic, gunmetal in there. Okay, I have the air pressure up all the way. It's okay for this. Wouldn't be a big deal. I mounted this piece here on a toothpick. So this is the first time for me using the velocity here. I get used to adjusting to using it. Sprays out pretty thin. Okay, so went in and mounted this on my tweezers here. Had to adjust the output here. This little knob here in back of this airbrush. This is a really nice airbrush. I think got this enough. Now when I put in the mix, I put in the thinner first, and it was about a 1 to 2 mix. So now let's go ahead and put this here and let's clean it out a bit. Drop some thinner in there. Okay, I'll drop some of my mix in there. And some alcohol. Okay, now let's get the cockpit green in here. I put on gloves for this because I'm going to have to hold this. So let's go ahead and put some thinner in. Shake up the cockpit green here. Let's pour a little. We're going to do a 1 to 2 mix. We're going to try. I think the airbrush being black is cool, but it's a little hard to see inside the cup. Give it a good mix. Do my sidewall test here, and it makes it look like skim milk. Okay, let's get this sprayed up. Whoa. Blow some air in it, dry it up a little. And one more pass to it. There we go. Okay, now for the cowl. Dry air. Let's get it dried up a little. Give it another pass. Dry it up a little. Okay, it looks good. By the way, you probably saw me might have spilled the paint, but there's a cap here that I could use for this. I haven't used it though because I wanted to keep an eye on the paint. Now, since I still have some cockpit green left, let's go ahead and paint some of the sprues for later on. This is the wheel well. Blow some dry air to dry it up a little. see how it dried up and where you have to apply more paint. Okay, blow dry air again. Dry it up a little. Remember, when the paint dries, it does stick as it does change to a different color sometimes, depending on the paint you use usually. And you might find out later on that you didn't apply enough paint. Okay, that looks good. Okay, blow some dry air. Let's get it dried up a little here. Check it. Let's give it another coat. Alright, looks good. Now, let's see. Where else was there? Okay, we got the doors here for the wheelbase. Put that in. Spray some air. Dry it up a little. Okay, I think there's also one more area. I hope I have enough paint for it. Here. Give it another coat. Pour some dry air to get it dried up. And there you go, and there you have it. All the areas that need cockpit green, I believe I have caught. Oh, maybe not. These here, which is the wing areas where the wing connects, those need to be cockpit green too. Okay. Okay, let's finish painting these wing ends here. Finally, we got the engine tip here, which is going to be light gray, thinner. Now it's going to be a little piece, so I don't have to put that much in there. Light gray. What I'm going to do with this is simply, instead of pouring it in, and I hate doing that with these bottles. And really, one of the reasons why I hate Tamiya is because of these bottles. And one reason why I'm hoping to completely go Vallejo soon. And just using the toothpick like that, and I don't like using droppers either to do paint because it's such a waste. At the end, it's just such a waste. It's basically what it is. So one way of doing it is putting it on a toothpick, a couple of drop on the toothpick. Alright, looks about right, I guess. I could just load up some black into the airbrush and spray this part here, but really, what's the point? It's a lot of work just to spray that piece there. We need to make this black, and we need to make the part over here black as well. So we'll do this one first. It's supposed to be this part here. It's supposed to be black, and that's it. Just that part there black. Go and wait for it to dry. I'll just go and leave it alone, let that dry. Okay, time to put this together and do some weathering. So let's see here. What we're gonna do first is go ahead and stick this piece into the backing of the engine. Should be like that. Then we'll just slide that in and push it in there. Before we do that, let's go ahead and put some glue on that, because I will not be able to reach in here when that happens. So let's go ahead and fill up some glue in areas. Okay, let's wait a few seconds. Let it melt the plastic a little. Alright, and let's push it in. There you have it. Now let's go ahead and, before we put on the tip and the little rubbery thing that will hold the propeller in, go ahead and do some weathering, because once this is on, we'll be able to get the weathering inside here. So what we'll do, I'll just go ahead and use some light gray. We'll go ahead and do some dry brushing. Okay, dry brushing, just dab it on a old brush like this. It's all cut and bristled out. It's an old brush, no big deal. Dab it so there's barely any paint on, and just go ahead and hit the details on the surface. And then you get, you know, some details out with dry brushing. Look at the rest of the engine here. Probably most likely won't see it on this end here, but that's alright. We'll know it's there. And then on the back side of the engine here, which again you'll probably barely be able to tell unless you actually peek through the cowl. Yeah, I'm not going to worry too much about details on the engine, because honestly the engine out of the box is meh. I mean, if I really wanted to put details into it, just to get brass piping and stuff and put it in, but it's going to be out of the box really. And the only thing I put in here is photo etch. So this one here, going to do first is take out one of these rubber pieces. Okay, we'll stick in the rubber piece here. Okay, the rubber piece in there. Go ahead and put these together. Let's go ahead and get some glue. Yeah, yes, we got some paint. Now, some people asked me on the other video about putting glue through the paint. Now, as long as you don't move it around afterwards, and you're holding the piece together, you're not moving around, the paint won't move. It will still melt up, but it'll dry where it's at. As long as you don't move it around and stuff like that, you'll be good. Okay, we'll take a little dry here, and now we still got some more dry paint on the brush here. There we go. Gonna let that dry up. It's dried, so what I'm going to do before I put this into the cowl and glue that together is I'm going to go ahead and put some flat matte varnish on it. This is Winsor's Newton Galleria Acrylic Medium matte varnish. Just going to dip some on a magic card here. Grab a brush, load it up. Now just paint over it. Just gunk it on basically. Now I can put this in the airbrush, but it's just a little small piece, not to worry about it right now. There we go, and we'll wait for that to dry. Okay, now before we go on, what I'm going to do is go ahead and do some weather dry brush on the gray part of the tip. Okay, and that's what the engine looks like. Okay, so we'll go ahead and put this on here, because that is where you have to line up all the marks. Go ahead and start dabbing some glue on here and let the capillary action take hold. We'll go ahead and stick in the cowl here. Now see here, there's no way getting around with the paint here, but it's not a big deal. We're going to paint over it anyways. But you see what I mean? If you keep it in place, there would be no problem. But if you have to move areas where there's glue and paint on it, it'll just spread around. So it's going to happen. So just gotta pick and choose your battles. And there you have it. The engine. And this is the back. Next step, we go ahead and start doing the wing roots, it looks like.